Like, it's so daunting to figure out all the channels, cutting up all the clips, doing all the edits. Even if AI helps, saves you so much time whenever you can hire someone else to do it for you. And like, you walk in and spend one session and then you leave and then the rest is handled.
We aren't just a video production company, we are business solution driven creatives. And this is More Than Meets the Eye.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of More Than Meets the Eye podcast, where we talk about what's behind a person, a practice, or a product, especially when it comes to marketing, because we are business solution driven creatives. I'm Jared Taylor. I've got my coffee, and I want to welcome you to JT Visuals, and that's spelled without the I because there's more than meets the eye. Okay, today we're going to go on an exploration of things that I know, things that I'm speculating based on what I know, and things that other people say who could be completely wrong. And if you've seen the title and our SEO says that we should name it this way, then you know we're talking about the algorithm of social media in 2026. Now, how can you know the future? Well, because from December to January, while it could change, it's not going to have another massive shift. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but what if you didn't have to hunt for your next client? What if there's a way that you could spend less than 3 hours per month, even as a busy entrepreneur, and start attracting your ideal clients so that they come to you rather than you have to always go to them? You could be the best of your industry, but we want to make you the best known. And you can get started on this for free on our website. Go to jtvisuals.com and look for our ideal client profile generator. We've trained AI to come up with who you should reach out to and who you need to become to be that go-to expert of your industry and city. So what are you waiting for? Go to jtvisuals.com. That's jtvsuals.com, jtvsuals.com, and get started today. There's been a massive shift of the algorithm in the last few years, and it's time we all truly realize what that means, so that when we start preparing content for 2026 and we start releasing that content on January 1st of 2026, don't wait for it. Start on that day. Say it now, declare it, and commit that you're going to put out content in 2026 on social media every day. And I know that sounds daunting, but we're going to talk about how many times per day should you post and beyond. As an overview, the algorithm, you got to think of it more like a business now. Every platform wants to keep people on their platform. YouTube does not want people to hop over to TikTok. And TikTok wants people to stay on TikTok, not hop over to Instagram. So I don't know why they have that follow me on Instagram on the profile over there. I don't know. This is a theory, but it's possible that if you have that connected, it's damaging your profile from being viewed more. That's probably not the case, but if you feel like it is, it's defeating TikTok's own purpose by sending you to Instagram. I don't know why. I don't get that. Someone explain it if it's true. But at the same time, TikTok wants you to stay on TikTok. Instagram wants you to stay on Instagram. Blue Sky, what the heck is Blue Sky? They want you to stay there, and they want you to use their platform, and they don't want you to get on X. And LinkedIn is the same way as well. Now, LinkedIn, you just got to think a little differently, with it being mostly business-minded people or people with jobs. And so, like, hey, this is not safe for work. There's an acronym for that. NSFW. If they see that and they're browsing around on LinkedIn, it might draw their attention. So, not safe for work. Do not watch this on LinkedIn at work. Then that would probably actually get their attention, and then they would watch it on LinkedIn. But that's not something you would necessarily put in TikTok. You could. But anyways, we're not talking about how to treat different platforms, algorithms, and culture. We're honing in on the A part of that, of PAC. Platforms, algorithms, culture. We're looking at algorithm. And it's important that we understand this fundamental shift that has happened and we accept where it is because it's been here for a while, and I really don't see it changing just because it's business. Could we all agree that it's about money? It's about becoming a platform where they can send ads. Like we see ads all the time now. You either purchase YouTube Premium to skip ads and YouTube makes money, or you go the free route, but then you see a million ads and then they leverage that. So it's truly not necessarily free. They're drawing us in for viewership, so they have more eyes, so they have leverage to bring in revenue for brands. It's all business. And if you're on the free account, don't complain when you see ads because you're on the free account. Like, that's just what it is. I know it's hard when it initially changes. However, these are some of the things that the platforms want. So when you see it with YouTube newsfeed, this applies there too, even on long form. It's going to suggest what it thinks you want. And that's the algorithm. It's no longer chronological. I remember when I first started Instagram. And it was like, man, if I overpost, people are going to unfollow me. And that was a huge deal. So it was like quality and timing your posts right. And so I'm here to say that with all the algorithmic updates, timing your posts is not as important as it used to be. We have a tool that helps you time your post, but at the same time, it's just looking for if someone likes this person and they post here, then the time of post could push it in the algorithm. But if it's something going viral, the time does not matter. It might just look for a little bit of relevancy. But again, their goal when you're scrolling TikTok as a user, TikTok wants you to stay on TikTok. Therefore, if there's a terrible video, it's easy to get out of the app. And so they are not going to push your video that sucks. Why do I have 50 views? Well, sorry, that video just didn't do very well. Hopefully you didn't spend thousands of dollars on that one video that just got 50 views. Hopefully you're leveraging it as best as possible if you did pay that much for it. At the same time, just try a little more. Like, don't be so, if you're truly trying, ignore that and keep going until you see what sticks. And then when you learn what sticks, it gets like from 50 views to 1,000 views. That's a huge jump. So then follow and research why that 1,000 viewed video did better. What were the topics, the keywords and everything? And look at that because it's starting to serve it to the algorithm from people's For You page and their newsfeed page because it wants to keep people on the platform. And it's seeing that that is starting to do well. So it'll feed it to the right group. Here's what happens from the creator standpoint, though. On the algorithm, you make a piece of content, you push it out there, and then you hope for the best. It's transcribing this, and it knows the content, and it's starting to get AI heavy with the visuals as well. So it can tell like, hey, red sweater girl, or like this or that. Like, even if you didn't talk about that, that might become a thing in the search term and all of that. And it's going to pair people who have liked red sweater people are going to like this video. Therefore, it's collected data on that. And it's supposed to be encrypted, but I bet they can unencrypt it or learn it. So nothing's ever truly private on social media. I wouldn't really treat it as anything private ever. So whatever you put out there, just know it's going to be out there. Even if you delete it, it could still stay there. And if you use a hashtag like dogs, but it had nothing to do with dogs, it's going to use that hashtag to kind of guide where it thinks it needs to go. And that's us telling the algorithm where it needs to go when we do a hashtag. And it goes to this group of people who have liked videos that have the hashtag dogs. When they see that we're talking about coffee and it's nothing to do with dogs, there's a possibility they scroll away and they don't like the video. And since we tried to push it just because dogs was popular and coffee wasn't as popular, that it's not going to do well because people who have liked the videos about dogs with that hashtag are expecting to see dogs and they're seeing coffee. You just got to think about it like that. So when you use hashtags, make sure that you're truly guiding where you think it should go. However, I'm seeing some other new trends. Since it transcribes everything in the video anyways, some people are barely writing anything. I've seen like one-word captions and no hashtags or anything. I've seen people not even put anything in the caption. Are you losing out on opportunity? I don't know, but you're letting the algorithm do more of its thing is my theory, and you're not trying to get in front of it. So we're actually experimental in testing with all this stuff, and we'll come back to you whatever we find out for that. But so far, we have actually seen no impact on the algorithm or our views when we get rid of those animated subtitles on clips. So you could just be doing extra work just because everyone else is, and it doesn't make a difference anymore. It used to be like, oh, it's eye-catching, but now it's like such a norm, it's eye-catching to not do it. We haven't seen any change, though, positive or negative. It's all been roughly the same. What we have seen is if you try to involve the social media and ask them questions, instead of talking down on them, you talk with them or ask them and you look up, and just to see out of curiosity what people on social media are doing or people out there in the world. And we've seen that work pretty good because then it brings in questions, curiosity. Those comments help drive the algorithm as well. Coming back to when you post a video, let's say TikTok, for example, all the algorithms are pretty much the same now. When you post onto TikTok, this is a rough estimate. These aren't the real numbers, but it's looking for that first small group of people. Who's it going to push it to? 15, 20 people, maybe. It's going to ignore your followers. If they haven't hit like on your video, it's just going to ignore them. So the amount of followers don't really matter anymore. It's going to show to them. And if those people watch 100% of the video, like it or comment, or all of it, depending on which level it is, but at minimum, it has to be 90 to 100% retention. So on the graph of the viewers that scrolled away to staying, if it's 100%, dude, you're so going to blow up. It's going to be on the algorithm, hands down, on no matter what platform. If you look at that graph of how long people are watching your video. So if you make a video that's like a minute long and you can look at the stats and people back away at 30 seconds, but it stayed 100% up until 30 seconds, just cut that video, see what it does, and just keep the 30 seconds because that was the most interesting part anyway, and see what it does. So the algorithm is looking for content that people will actually like so they stay on the platform. After that first 10, 20 people, it's going to say, hey, you graduated, basically. You qualify. We're going to move you to a larger group, 100 people. So then it moves to the news feed or the For You page of 100 people. And then if they like it and watch it all the way through, then it's going to push to the next 1,000, and then it's going to push to 10,000, and then 100,000, and then 1,000,000, and then it's going to go beyond that. So it goes until it hits a limit of the pool of people that video is for. That's how the algorithm works. So your first test groups, it's very important. So if you're here and you're supporting our channel and you really want to support us, but you don't really hit like on our videos, okay, if you're never going to like our videos, get out of here. That's actually more damaging. So if you want to go and there's someone you don't like that's on social media, actually the best thing you could do is follow them and then scroll away immediately on all their videos. Now, that's not going to be as damaging as you think, but it certainly does not help because that first test group, who knows, it could be 20 people, and that first 20 people involve my mom, who's never going to talk about this kind of content. She's never going to listen to this. And it's going to be my grandma too. Oh, there's Jared. I just had them on the last episode of our podcast, so definitely suggest going and watching that. The thing is, though, that's the point. However, what this means goes even deeper. We're all still eyeing how many followers someone has. Why? We hardly ever even hit follow anymore on the culture of Reels and TikToks. Maybe on photos and stuff you do. Some people I hit follow on, but it has to be like out of the park. There's more people I don't follow that show up than there are people that I follow that show up because it's not about chronological anymore. Now, sometimes TikTok knows this, and in the algorithm, they're probably like 1/100th of all the things we show them. Just try to show them their friends to remind them of their friends. But that might be it. So what this means is that every individual piece of video is different. And you've probably heard people like Gary Vee or Alex Hormozi talk about this. However, one of my theories is to press even deeper on this and consider this. If you think that you have to niche down to only talk about coffee, as an example, and then that's your whole thing and people follow you because it's coffee, yes, I think people will follow you because of that. When they go there and they see that you're the coffee connoisseur and you love coffee, they're going to hit that follow button. However, hitting that follow button doesn't matter. What matters is that every individual piece of video they see, because what's the point of someone hitting follow if they don't see any more of your content? It doesn't work that way much anymore. It does a little bit, but not much. If we have a channel and there's 20% of the time we're talking about coffee, but 20% of the time we're talking about cameras because we love cameras, and 20% of the time we're talking about Apple because we like Apple and the ecosystem, and then 20% of the time we're talking about dogs or building podcasts or marketing, business, personal. What should it be? Where should I niche down? Well, actually, because of the algorithm, pick what you enjoy the most and stick with that. And your method, should I niche down or go variety? Yes, do both. Like niche down for a season and then do variety, or do variety for a season. You're rallying around common interest. There's also a nickname now for social media. It should be interest media now. So if every individual piece of video, when it shows up on the feed, is about interest, then those that hit like because of the coffee portion of my channel, they're going to see more of the coffee portion because the algorithms are smart. By the way, it's like the first AI. It's been around for a while. It's machine learning. It learns. It may not be generative, but it knows and it learns it and learns your profile and then pushes out to you what it thinks you would like. And it serves you. It's supposed to be well. Sometimes it's a bad echo chamber on the algorithm. But at the same time, those that like dogs are going to see the dog content. They'll go to the channel and then maybe they hit follow, maybe they don't. But I don't really think followers are really worth it much anymore. They don't matter, except they do too. Like it's weird. It's a yin yang. There's a combo of it doesn't matter when you're trying to actually impact people, but it does matter when that's what you're measuring and that's what you want. Because I always look at it as like if you drive up to an event and you're the only one there and you see the parking lot, no one else is around, it kind of feels weird. And it's like, wait, this is a highly credible, authority-driven public speaker, and they're at this event. Where is everybody? Did I get you start questioning things. Did I land on the wrong spot? Is this the real place? Is this the official profile? How do they have like millions of hits and only 5,000 followers? Like, that's weird. Well, it's because followers don't matter much anymore, except for the part where you want to get to some of that initial following, just so that when people do check out the channel, they just look for legitimacy. That's it. It's just a vanity number. It's just for show. It's really more about good content getting out there. There's people with 1 million followers that are getting 2,000 views. In the past, 1 million followers meant it was sending out to at least 80% of your followers. Now, all of my videos, I saw one guy, this was different, but when you post reels on Instagram and make sure all your settings are correct, and by default it should be correct, it posts to like 90% are non-followers. Check out your graph. If it lets you put an image in the comment, let me see what that is, because I want to see when you post your videos and your reels, more specifically in TikToks, that pushes more to non-followers than followers. I've seen the opposite when you do photos. I don't know how the algorithm works for photos. I feel like it's got to be so different. But for photos, it's more getting a hold of your followers. And then you got the annoying thing of like people feel like they have to tag you, and then you get a notification on Facebook. Hey, so-and-so tagged you. Oh, really? What did they tag me with? And then you go and you search it and they did at everyone or at followers. It's like, come on, man. Notifying me of this. Now Facebook lets you block that. So I don't see that lasting very long, whatever tactic that is. But if it's something very important, don't misuse it, because people will want to unfollow that notification. And if they do that, then you're going to lose the leverage that you have there to use that. So wait for the really high quality, important stuff. Don't do it on every post. So if you want to learn more about the algorithm, just ask questions in the comments on our long version on YouTube, because we're going to be able to answer it more deeply. You can leave a comment in the podcast, whatever platform you're listening to as well. We'll try to get to that as soon as possible. However, we have the YouTube system down and we're going to be able to see it a lot better. So go to YouTube and hit a comment. We'll get to it as soon as possible about some of this, because I think answering direct questions can help this, because I know it sounds confusing. Basically, you just want to put out as good content as possible and stop worrying about followers. Followers is not your metric. Impact is your metric. Are views good? Yes. Are views hard to measure for what you actually want? Yes. Because I know a lot of people that went viral and it did nothing for their business. They didn't get a single phone call. But I know people that have done 1,000 views. I myself have done 20 views and then got a $15,000 agreement going because of the 20 view one. So it's like, what are you really after and what are you measuring? Figure that out. Literally, followers is only about your flashy car that you own just to show off. I got 10,000 followers. It can help with sales. I got 10,000 followers. And on our podcast platform too. Like we list that. It's something to be cool about. But I don't want people to feel tricked. We've had over 3 million views across the whole network of our podcasts that we've seen, from social channels to long form. Well, there's been more than 3 million on all the shows that we produce. Yeah, see, it's a flashy number. But then you ask, but what does that really mean? And so it's really about what are you trying to measure? Here are some things, though. I know there are some people out there struggling with social media and posting, and I want to help you. And most of the time, this is the question that's still Googled a lot, and this is the question a lot of people ask. How many times should I post per day? And the answer is as much as humanly possible. Can you overpost? No. You cannot overpost anymore. It's just gonna feed you videos if you like that kind of content. There are some people that I've heard that have watched just like 1 second too long. They got to like the 4th second and then the algorithm keeps sending my videos and they're not even liking or commenting, but they're kind of sticking around just to see what it's about. And some of them, they're like, oh, I saw you did a thing with coffee. And at the beginning stages for businesses, social media is the best way to stay top of mind. And then you graduate from there and move on, because I've seen it work for people that we've made pitches to, or people that we're trying to make pitches to or get meetings for. And then they see us on social media and they're like, oh yeah, I had that email I was going to book. And then they go and book it. So it really helps being like one of those 7 to 12 touch points as it takes to land a conversion, which actually I think it's more like 50 now. It's got to be 50 in this day and age. Be careful using AI slop though. And what I mean is like you didn't really engineer what you're about to put out and you just signed up for one of those AI companies and they're going to like make all your dreams come true and they sound really promising. It's like a genie. They try it and it kind of works and they have an online presence. But if that's all people see and it becomes slop, it affects your branding. And if it's all like human looking and you're not checking that it's using AI and you're not controlling that when you post it, the algorithms could potentially start nixing some of your content because of that. I bet there's some sort of policy too about that. If it's altered content, I know YouTube, they ask every time, is this altered content? Meaning like, is this someone's face that's not someone's real face? And you have to put yes or no. And if we start misrepresenting that, it's going to hurt us in the future. Make sure you're ready for it if you're going to do that, or make a whole new channel about it just in case. But I would be careful with some of those sites because they promise the world and they give you content, but it's not necessarily good content. And it's about every single individual piece of content. Now, try to navigate that as best as possible. Now, here's another one too. Because of the algorithm, so few people go to the grid anymore before they hit follow and decide. The only one that this somewhat matters on is Instagram. I have not seen it really matter at all on TikTok. That is just a you preference, and it's not going to affect your followers. It's not going to affect the videos that go viral. It's not going to affect people buying from you. It's the value you give when they watch your content that's going to affect that. Focus on that and less on the grid. On the grid, the goal is that usually this is what happens in the journey of someone that like follows your account or whatever, is they'll run into your video on the For You page. Then they go to your profile. They kind of scroll around. If they hit like 3 more videos that it does have that at least the thumbnail where it has the caption on it. So that way in the grid, it's not about the pretty faces or anything as much as it is seeing that and seeing the content. They'll go, oh, that's related content. I'm interested in this. And then they hit that. And then as they keep seeing more, now they're going to see more and more of your content and be more inclined to buy whatever you're selling or to join in on the movement that you're leading. But that doesn't mean you can't spend time and make it pretty just because you want it to. One day that could stand out again. It's not going to really matter for what you actually want. That's just you and your preference. On Instagram, it is a little bit more, but because of Reels, people understand that most of the time when they post, it's not like a pretty thumbnail. It's just a reel. Like they understand it's a video. We ourselves, we just try our best to make sure you're not in the middle of something is what we're looking for. And then make sure it has that text box so people can actually know what that video is about. Because if they're on the grid, they're never going to click another video if they don't know what it's about, or at least curious to know what it's about. So here's an update. Facebook got rid of likes. They no longer have likes for pages. It's only followers. In the next 5 to 10 years, it's possible they just get rid of followers in general. Who really knows? Right now, that's just a number. They got rid of the likes because people were hitting follow instead of likes. And so at least that's gone. So you don't see like there's 20 likes and 1,000 followers. It was always weird when I saw that on Facebook. So that's actually good news. But here's a question I have to ask. When you start your channels or wherever you are right now, if you have a goal, how many followers do you want? And when you think of that question, workshop it right now. Wherever you're listening, how many followers do you want? Normally, like a business coach, it'd be like by when, but we don't have to put a time limit on this goal right now, not for this workshop. And then the follow-up question, let's say you say 100K. Why? Why do you want 100K followers? And then my follow-up right after that is, how do you know that? Is it because ChatGPT said? Is it because that's what you've heard? Is that what you feel like? How do you know that? How do you know that that's what you need and why you need it? So what if we've been doing it all wrong and it's actually just not about followers at all? Maybe just 1K, 10K, get there. 100K is kind of cool. Like there's milestones. It's really only flashy. That's it. It's just flashy. It doesn't help the algorithm. Maybe you want that blue check without subscribing to it. I don't know. Do popular people, do they have to subscribe to that now on Meta or X? They used to earn it because it was for impersonation validation. And now it's something people can pay for. Does it really help? Well, to be honest, we've tried it on Instagram, the Meta verified thing for our business. And I think we were growing just because we were pushing more content. We tripled down on our content and we have 4 to 5 posts per day right now across like all the social media platforms you can think of. That's what we've seen an increase in. I really do not feel like it helped at all to pay for that little badge. They just know people see it as like a flashy thing. The thought behind it though is if you have that and then you go and comment on other people's posts, it could draw more people to get more profile views. And as you get more profile views, they never saw your video yet. That was you contributing to, like, maybe there's a coffee video and then you get like the top comment or something and it shows that there's a blue check mark. That could draw interest and people are going to be like, wait, what is this? Is this one of those people that just pays, or are they famous, or what's going on? And you click it and then it takes you to the profile. Now that they're there, they see, oh, wait, they make coffee videos. Oh, I'm curious. What'd they think of the mocha pot? Oh, I'm curious. What'd they think of the AeroPress? Oh, I'm curious. What'd they think of the branding of Wicked for this? Oh, what'd they think of scooters? I really want to see this. And then maybe they push to the longer content after that. And that's like the ideal journey that happens. And then they stay on your long content and they spend time on brand and they realize, oh, this person sells this. I think I could use that. And then they purchase. It's a long game, but it really works. And that one video that goes viral could change the trajectory of your business. However, I've seen, like I mentioned earlier, some videos going viral and it didn't do a thing. Then you got to answer that question. If you want to go viral, why do you want to go viral? Once you answer that, how do you know that and figure out where that came from? And is that valid? Now, the thing I like to ask is, what do you do after you go viral? Well, give us a call. I know exactly what you should try. If you're willing to do it, I can tell you. You need to use that piece of creative that helped you go viral and repurpose it and use it and put paid ad dollars on it. So you want to go organic first. You test the algorithm, see what people actually like, and then boom, this one got way more than this one. So the one that you got a lot more for, you put paid dollars towards it, but you change the call to action to something that you're selling or that you actually want, and it can really work. And the beauty of the culture of today is that things don't have to totally relate to relate. You can easily segue it, or you can just go, hey guys, by the way, I'm selling courses about coffee and I would love for you to join it. Link in the description, just something like that. Or click the link below for more info and then just get them to the next step. But you have to have that strategy and you have to have that system set up. So going viral alone could possibly accidentally be good, but if you set up a system that's actually there to catch the virality and help navigate all those viewers and use that content and repurpose it towards things you actually want, then that's awesome. Anybody out there that's gone viral recently and you have a business and you don't know what to do with it, let us know. Send us a DM. We could probably help you for some consultation. Or if you're in the Kansas City area or if you're a client of ours, when we see that this happens, and then we can implement a plan, but it's got to be pretty fast. It's got to be 1, 2, 3 days, but it's already proven that the creative works, even if it was just a stupid trend. And that's another thing. On these algorithms, the more you try, the harder it is. So the less you care and just think about like, is there a big group of people that likes this thing and that's the topic that I'm talking about? Rally around those people. But sometimes it's just dancing. They're not even trying and they're getting lots of views all the time. And then some people, it's actually not all luck. And a lot of people put a lot of hard work behind it and it looks stupid, but really the way they set up the camera, the way they captured it, the bravery and courage they had to have to throw in that humor, and then now it's across the internet for a lot of people to see. There's a lot involved, and some of it's strategy, some of it is strategy to make look like it didn't have a strategy. Sometimes you just got to try less and do more. Do more, try less, more about volume. I've been saying this recently is you see a target of where you want to go. If you aim for nothing, you hit it every time. That's Zig Ziglar. But if you take spaghetti and you throw it at the target, whatever spaghetti stuck, then take your dart and get extremely dialed in and hit the spaghetti and the target. That's how you win. Figure it out. Do all of it. Should I do this or this? Yes. Write it down. Which one should I do first? Well, whichever one you're actually more excited to do first, because doing it is better than sitting around waiting for the perfect strategy to fall in your lap that you're not going to put time into. However, we've seen that podcasting and long-form YouTube has worked really well to fulfill our social media. And then when you do that and you get, like, if you were to maximize all the things, it would be 4 podcast episodes, videos per month at like 40 minutes each. And then you would do 2 to 4. Again, if we're talking about maximizing, maybe 4 that are just standard straight up YouTube videos that you need to talk to more of a YouTube audience for and not put it on a podcast to differentiate things. And then on top of that, you have your regular, I just thought of this through the day, selfie post, and ask people to contribute and comment back and, hey, how are you guys doing? I hope this means something to someone, and just put out that kind of content. So it's the DIY and it's the podcast and YouTube channel, and those are going to take you so far, especially because you have the long form to go with as well. That is a fantastic plan. I hope that everyone considers it, whether that's even with us or not. We do help with that. And that's the reason why we push it, is because I've seen it work, and I'm seeing it work for a lot of other people too. And it also saves you so much time whenever you can hire someone else to do it for you. And like you walk in and spend in one session and then you leave. That's awesome. And then the rest is handled. Like, it's so daunting to figure out all the channels, cutting up all the clips, doing all the edits. Even if AI helps, you still got to exercise the right things, and you still find yourself editing video even though there's an AI tool that is supposed to do that for you. And then you get that all published and distributed to the right places, and you look at the clock and like, man, that took a long time, and you should be out there closing deals instead, or out there leading your team or casting vision or whatever it is that is your specific role as a business owner or wherever you are. If you're the chief marketing officer, maybe you're not the person that you should do all the things. Maybe you're supposed to lead the team to do all the things and get them to buy into the vision and make sure things are going how the company would want it to go. And so if time is what you're looking for, then that's what we can actually provide for you. And we have the tools to do it very efficiently. And we've seen things go viral. There was another old myth that's on topic here because of the new algorithms. And I say new, it's been like, 4 or 5 years at least, ever since TikTok. It was the TikTokification of everything. And everyone started copying TikTok. That was when the For You page, YouTube was doing it a little bit more before them on the news feed, but not a ton. And the whole thing is just keep people on their own platform. One of the things that used to be a myth is using scheduling tools does not perform as well as posting direct on platform. And that's not the case anymore because, think about it, the algorithms want the best pieces of content and people to stay on their platform. It's not that the scheduler tool sucks, it's that your creative sucks. And you can go and you can test it. Now, sometimes there's minor changes someone can make and not realize those minor changes because when you go direct and platform, some of the default settings are different than some of the default settings on the scheduler tool or whatnot. So sometimes there are cases where I've seen it not be true. However, the algorithm just cares, and we've seen clips not hindered when we use our tool, JT Social. You can at least join the waitlist if you want to use this tool. It can help you save a lot of time if you have a social media team member or someone that can actually use it. So if not, then we just gift it complimentary and we run it, and we use this to distribute all of the content that we make. We've seen millions of views through this tool, proving that it does not matter if you're posting from a scheduling tool or not. What matters is people liking the video and watching it all the way through. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of More Than Meets the Eye. It would mean the world to me if you actually made it this far. It means you probably liked this content. If you would go in whatever platform you're on, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, if you left a 5-star review based on what you've listened to, heck, whatever it is, just as long as it's honest review, and say what this podcast has meant for you or what you get from it when you listen to it, or even maybe just one episode, what you got from it. I would love to know, to see it as feedback, but also you're helping other people to be able to discover what you've discovered. If you have any other questions, leave comments on whatever platform you're on, and I will see you next time as you continue to do the reps and keep on keeping on.